Hi, this is Doug Carlsen, and this is the first installment in our Savvy Hygienist series. Today we're going to look at your retirement number. Now there's a lot of software programs out there, and there are a lot of financial people who love to tell you how much you need to save for retirement. The numbers are all over the place. They get really weird really quickly, and that's because there's different assumptions placed. Also, different people will give you different numbers, whether it's in 2014 or current or real, actually it's called real dollars, or inflated dollars in the future. We're going to deal with 2014 or real dollars today. So let's get started. We have a hygienist here and her husband. We're going to look at their total family income first. Let's say the hygienist is working 4 days a week and making $75,000 a year, and her husband is also working and making $50,000 a year. So let's come up with that. That's $125,000 per year. Okay, that's their total family income. How much will they need in retirement? Well, it's not 100% of that. A lot of financial people will say you need somewhere between 70 and 100% of your pre-retirement income in retirement. Well, sometimes that's true, and oftentimes it isn't. First of all, a lot of us don't have mortgages in retirement. Second of all, we don't have to generate savings from income in retirement. That's a big one. That means also our taxes are going to be less. So the numbers are often less. What we are going to assume here is that you'll have the same consumption, the same spending that you had pre-retirement, except for a mortgage. We're going to assume first off that you won't have a mortgage in retirement. So what we've come up with is a table here, and hopefully you can see these tables fairly well. I have an autofocus camera here, and it may go in and out focusing on me and this. So I'm going to name off the numbers for you to make it a little bit easier. So follow with me as best you can. Family pre-tax income, this hygienist and her husband have an income of $125,000. Well, that's in between $100,000, which lists $60,000 retirement income need, and $150,000, which lists $90,000 as retirement income need. So their actual pre-tax retirement income is going to be $75,000. That's quite a bit less than $125,000, but they don't have a mortgage. And typically, a hygiene family has a mortgage of a couple $1,000s a month, maybe $2,500. Now, the thing is, if you're going to carry a mortgage significantly into retirement, more than 7 years, you have to add that back in. In other words, if this couple had a $2,000 mortgage a month, which is $24,000 a year, they're going to be at $99,000 or $100,000 a year ballpark. That will be their retirement need, which is significantly more than $75,000. So again, if you're going to have a mortgage more than 7 years into retirement, you need to add that in to the yearly figure. Okay, so we've got $75,000, which is needed. We're going to write that over here. $75,000, which is needed to be generated each year in retirement. That's the amount of money that they're going to have pre-tax income. Let's look at what will be paid for them. Well, the big one is Social Security. We're going to talk about that first. And we have another table which is smaller. I had to get this all on one unit here, one page. We're going to deal with the individual highest income in 2014 dollars and come up with averages as to what you may receive in Social Security. Again, these are all ballpark figures, but when you put it all together, it gives you somewhat of an accurate idea how much you're going to need to save for retirement. So individual highest income, $30,000, your Social Security at your full retirement age, which is either 66 or 67, is $11,000. $50,000 income before retirement, you get $15,000, $75,000, $20,000, $100,000, $25,000, $150,000, about $30,000. This is assuming that you work most of your life, most of your career before retirement at about 25 years. Social Security actually computes over a 35-year period. If you've actually worked a full 35 years before you retire, you can add a couple thousand more to each of these. So it actually, for dentists or the high income earners, they max out about $32,000. It's a little bit less, but it's close to 32. So, primary Social Security is the one that's earning more. In this case, it's the hygienist, earning $75,000 a year. She is going to, or he is going to have about $20,000 a year in Social Security. The secondary earner is earning $50,000. So looking at the table here, that's going to be about $15,000 per year in Social Security at full retirement age, which is 66 or 67. Of course, if you take it as early as 62, you get about 70% that amount. If you wait till 70, you get about 25% more. But we're working with the full retirement age. Traditional pension. One of the couples, normally not the hygienist, may have a state or government, state job, federal job, local job for a government agency and have a pension that pays out a certain amount per month. Put that down here too. In this case, it's not appropriate. You may have rental or other ongoing income. Again, if it's going to go more than 7 years in retirement, put that in there, what you figure is going to be per year. In this case, we come out with 0. The other thing I do need to bring up, there's something called spousal benefit. If you have contributed to Social Security and your spouse has never contributed to Social Security, they're going to get at least half of what you get. In other words, this hygienist is getting $20,000 a year. Say her spouse has never worked or worked sporadically. That spouse is going to get at least $10,000 a year. They get either half of what their spouse gets or what their Social Security benefit page says. So they're going to get at least $30,000 here. Spousal benefit. There's other complications to Social Security too here, which we don't have time to go into. But this couple at full retirement age will have about $35,000 in Social Security income. That means they need to generate $40,000 per year. I'm going to put this in 2 spots. They need to generate $40,000 per year to have proper income in retirement. $40,000 a year from savings. Well, how much is that total? Okay, so you're going to be into retirement from 66 or 67. We want to go out to at least 95. That's about 30 years. We multiplied by 30? No, it's a number smaller than that. And the reason is because there's going to be some growth normally in your investments. So if they are to retire at age 70, which is later on, the multiple, if they multiply this $40,000 by, is 18. They're going to retire at age 66 or 67. So their multiple is 21. That means they're going to have to save $840,000 approximately for retirement to generate $40,000 a year plus their Social Security to give them $75,000 total. $840,000. If they retire at age 60, it's going to be less, or excuse me, more. Their number is 24. That's a 24 there. So they're going to need to have $960,000 generated if they want to retire earlier at age 60. That's a difference. That's close to $1 million. In any case, what we find is that a couple earning $125,000 a year normally needs somewhere between 7 and 10 times their family income for retirement. In other words, between $800,000 and $1 million is what we're coming up with here in our calculation. That gives us an idea of basically $1 million in today's figures is probably going to be fairly safe for retirement. Again, there's calculators out there that can give you much more accurate information. I use Financial Engines. Financial Engines gives very accurate forecasts for your actual investments and follows them in real time. I love it, financialengines.com. But there's other advisors that can help you out on this too. But this gives you just a basic ballpark figure in a few minutes as to probably where you need to be for retirement. Thanks so much for listening.